Hi everyone, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with, that's right, another rumour has it video. I threw me toys out the pram in the January transfer window with these videos because I just thought we weren't going to send anybody. I was sick to death of hearing about PSR and FFP. I felt like I was in a mortgage review. It was boring me to death. I didn't want to talk about it anymore, but there has been some positive movements in terms of transfers and the PSR situation Newcastle find themselves in. And according to people in the know, the summer might be quite an active window, and it looks like Newcastle have already started to make moves to assure some signings in the summer. And we're going to get stuck right into one here. And surprise, surprise, it is a goalkeeper. You know exactly where I'm going to go with this one. So we're going to get stuck right into this. Just before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, smash subscribe, help get us to the next milestone. I think we're within 29, of the magic 10K. You can help get us there, guys, hopefully before March. We've got a week to smash through the 10K barrier. Help us get there, guys. Recommend us to family and friends. All free content. But if you do want to give a bit back to the channel, there's a member option down there below. So let's get stuck in. Who am I rambling on about? Well, it's a goalkeeper, and it's a goalkeeper that shouldn't surprise any of us. I know we've got about 15 goalkeepers in the squad, but what's one more? Do you want one more? Ocean's 11? I think we need one more.
All right, we'll get one more.
So this is the lad I'm talking about, and it is James Trafford. Now, previously when we were linked to Trafford before, to say I was underwhelmed is probably a safe explanation there. I think, to be fair, probably an understatement. I saw James Trafford in the Premier League, and he looked weak. He was shoved around. He was replaced by a pretty shit goalkeeper for Burnley. Burnley were conceding goals, unbelievably. There was more goals going in the back of their nets than fucking people's personal development plans and business pitches. There were just goals flying all over the fucking place. And unfortunately Trafford was picking out the net more than anything, really. But he was young. He's still young. And it maybe being a little bit harsh. I might have been a little bit harsh on him back then, I think, in terms of his ability to be a goalkeeper in the Premier League, because it's tough to be a goalkeeper anyway. To come into a Burnley side that was playing open, expansive football in a league that was way beyond their levels, and they were just getting tonked week in, week out, really. And I still can't believe the fucking manager got the Bayern Munich job of all things. Jesus Christ. But Trafford had good pedigree at Manchester City Youth Academy. He won the England European Championships with Anthony Gordon as well, likes of Gibbs White, Morgan Rogers, all these players, Cole Palmer. Real good players come through that lineup. So you got to look at that and think Trafford surely was a better player than what he was showing in the Premier League. So Burnley went down, and obviously Trafford has been their number one. It did sound like we were going to get him last summer, and apparently, and again, going on this story, Fabrizio Romano, the old king of transfers, said that we'd agreed personal terms with Trafford, and that was the noise, the buzz doing the rounds, that he was going to come to Newcastle in the summer, but he didn't come in the end. We all know what happened in the summer, a bit of a flat shit summer for us. Really, we ended up with, Vlachodimos and Pliers and John Ruddy, who loves to wear a dressing gown, and we didn't end up with James Trafford. So he stayed at Burnley, and I actually think that's done him the world of good, because I think he's got 12 clean sheets or something in a row for Burnley in the Championship, and he looks better for having another season in the Championship. He looks stronger. He looks more confident. I mean, there's no doubt that the lad had ability even when he was struggling in the Premier League, especially with his feet, which is something that we don't have in terms of a goalkeeper. Martin Dubravka's come back into the side after, living in the shadows, really, then going off the Man U and that fatal mistake he made, calling them United, cough, cough, my word, Martin, that was a mare. But he's come back and he's shown what a decent goalkeeper he can be. He's better with his feet than Nick Pope. That's Nick Pope's biggest flaw. He's a great shot stopper, Nick Pope. He's got a good presence in goal, but he's crap with his feet. He couldn't kick a sandcastle down on Whitley Bay Beach. I think he's that bad with his feet. But Dubravka's a lot better with his feet, but then he is suspect coming off his line, getting stuck in no man's land. Trafford seems to be a good mixture of the two of these guys. Now, with Dubravka signing a new contract, a lot of the conspiracy theories were going, is Nick Pope going to go? And I even asked Craig Hope that recently. I was at a Newcastle United talking with True Faith. It was brilliant night, great crack. Met a few people as well. Big shout out to Rob Rumstein, top lad. Had a good beer with Rob, had a chat with Rob. But I asked Craig about this as well. And he said that he probably thinks that Dubravka will go in the summer, and this whole thing was just about maybe getting him to stay for the rest of the season, have a little bit of solidity in the squad. Then obviously we could maybe sell Dubravka for a slightly bigger fee. So because I was thinking Pope would go, but by all accounts, I think listening to what Craig was thinking about it, is that Pope's probably going to hang around here. He's settled in the area. He's 36 years old now. He's at a big club. If Pope left Newcastle, no disrespect, where would he go? He'd probably end up going back down to what you would call maybe a lesser club, or a club that isn't quite as financially armed and in the kind of status in the league that Newcastle United are right now, with European football hopefully on the cards. So maybe that's where Nick Pope is going to stay. And then Trafford will be kind of coming in as the number two. Maybe, Dubravka will leave in the summer. So we'll wait and see what happens. But Trafford's attributes there, Mark's bashed up the super to a computer. Mark is the resident goalkeeper. So he is probably the best person to talk about this. But I will do my best. Now, you can see where the greens are there straight away. Goals conceded for Trafford because he's been absolutely outstanding for Burnley this season, as you can see there. In terms of the goals conceded is next to nothing really. In terms of the amount of goals that he's conceded for Burnley this season is incredible. You look at his England caps, 19 under 21 caps, only 8 goals conceded. So the lad is a good keeper. He's a good shot stopper. He comes off his line quick as well, very agile for 6'6", but with his feet, he's absolutely brilliant. In terms of his passing ability there, his passes attempted, you can see he's right up in the high percentile there as well in terms of his passing. He's very, very composed. I've seen him, hit kind of outside of the foot through balls to a marauding right back. I've seen him, dinking passes out to the wing. I've seen him blasting them up to the centre forward's chest. I've seen him coming out, taking the touch, deceiving the striker. And that's not something that our goalkeepers seem to possess. They struggle with that. Dubravka is better than Pope, but both of them aren't brilliant at that. So I think to have that in a young goalkeeper's game is absolutely brilliant. The strength is what worried me a little bit. He looks like he's filled out a little bit more. Trafford, he looks a bit bigger for it, and not to mention, his penalty saves against the Mackhams, and then he turned around and did the old Isaac Gunfingers. He's almost got legendary status just from that alone, to be honest with you. But looking at his career overall, let's say he's Manchester City Youth Academy prospect, Accrington, Bolton Wanderers, as you can see there, and obviously Burnley as well. He's been excellent, for Burnley in the Championship this season. So for me, I'm starting to get a little bit more positive on this one. I think the big thing I would say about Trafford really is, he is a young goalkeeper, and he is going to progress. If you look at Lewis Hall and Tino Liverman, I've talked about the back line being too old. I've talked about them being in their 30s, right? Nick Pope's 36, Dubravka's 34, John Ruddy's 63. Sorry, John, I know he's a bit younger than that. Flacadimos is, I don't know how old he is because no one ever really sees him. Gillespie's just a party planner. So amongst all them goalkeepers, there isn't a real great contingency plan for the future. This is who Eddie Howe's identified as the future number one for Newcastle United. And, 20 million quid for the lad might turn out to be a really cracking bit of business. You look at Hall and Tino, the way that we scouted them, the way that we signed them, the way we developed them. And I think having Pope here as the number one and Trafford kind of coming in, and learning from Pope as well and developing, he's only 22. He'll only be 23 next season when he plays for Newcastle, 24. That's a hell of a young age for a goalkeeper. There's another 20 odd years left of his career, possibly in the lad then, barring injury. So this could be a really smart bit of business by Newcastle. And it looks like on day one of transfer window, this is the first one that's going to come through the door. So let us know what you guys think about Trafford in the comments. I was obviously very interested in signing Kelleher from Liverpool. I think he's going to be up for grabs for somebody's number one. I think in the summer, sounds like Chelsea are going to get him signed up, and Chelsea have got real goalkeeping problems. Arsenal do as well, but Chelsea probably more than anybody. That's the missing ingredient they have, I think, in their whole squad portfolio. Just a decent, solid goalkeeper, because their goalkeepers seem to struggle to catch anything. They couldn't catch a fucking cold half the time. I just watched the howlers that they had against Villa the other night. They put Villa right up in the Champions League spots again because the goalkeeper was like tracing paper. So I could see Chelsea probably getting Kelleher, because obviously Mohamed Dashford's coming at Liverpool as the number one. Sounds like Alisson might be going over to Saudi Arabia. So this is smart business from Newcastle when you look at it, 20 million quid. If Trafford does train on and become the player that everybody hopes that he will be, Craig Hope was very complimentary about him. Mark, obviously being our resident goalkeeper, Mark's a massive fan of Trafford. He's always said that Trafford will be England's number one, will be a great goalkeeper. Former Newcastle midfield and Burnley manager Scotty Parker, with his brilliant cardigan, said the same thing the other day. So time will tell on Trafford, but it looks very much like James Trafford is going to be a Newcastle United player next season. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you happy? Are you excited about that? Are you a bit underwhelmed? Would you have wanted somebody better, somebody more established, to maybe take the number one jersey off Pope rather than learn from Pope and potentially take it off him, depending on how well he does when he gets his chance? But we always like to hear what you guys think. Smash a comment in, like and subscribe, help the channel grow. Member options are there if you want to be one as well, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep it evermore. We'll be back with another Rumor Has It soon. All the best. See you later.